Welcome, Warrior, to this live about embodying a warrior with me, Heidi Morton. Thank you for coming. We all have stories that we tell ourselves, right? I know I've had stories in the past that I've told myself that were frankly not true. And I'm sure that you have stories in your life that you tell yourself that are not true. Those little lies that our internal critic tell us. Well, this live today is all about taking back control of your mind and becoming the author of your own story. Because guess what? You can have a happily ever after. So let's get into it. I'm excited to talk about this topic today because it's something that's very personal to me. I used to be the type of person that used to talk bad about myself, the type of person that didn't believe in myself. And one day I decided to wake up and tell myself a new story. But that all started with me. First, I had to lay my foundation, right? I had to create a blueprint for my new story. Then I had to embody that new identity. And then after that, was I able to program my subconscious mind. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But the thing is that I was able to program my subconscious mind by consistent action over and over, telling myself that new story, that new narrative that I wanted to have. Okay, so your brain is, well, a record for your past, right? To understand why we get stuck in our old stories, we need to kind of understand that our brain is designed just to keep us safe. It wants to keep us safe and not safe like if there was a bear after us. Yes, it would. That way we would like run really fast. If I saw a bear and it was chasing me, I would definitely run. But it thinks it wants to keep us safe in places that it probably shouldn't be keeping us safe, like holding on to weight. For me, when I held on to weight, I was using it as a safety, as a safeguard. Like I didn't realize that I was using that weight that I had as a protection for me to keep me safe. And I know that sounds weird, but I had some trauma when it came to my body from when I was a child. And I realized through processing my new identity and my new narrative that I was able, okay, slow down, Heidi. I realized that I was holding on to that weight because of, like I said, keeping me safe as a protection. It was those layers that were protecting me. And I had to kind of break through those layers to be able to create a new narrative. And so to do that, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I had to write a new story about myself. And I had to really embody a warrior instead of embodying the victim that I used to be. So let's talk about that. So we need to find the evidence for our new story. Now, how do we do that? Well, one of the ways that I like to find evidence for my new story is things that people have said consistently about me, things that people have written in cards or people that they've said to me or different things. Anytime they say a positive word, I write it down and I write who said it. And that's evidence for me. We're building evidence of who we're supposed to be embodying or who we want to be embodying. You're not supposed to do anything. You can do whatever you want, but who you want to embody. So for me, I took and I figured out what is my old belief and what is the new belief that I want to embody. And so, say the old belief that I had was I'm stupid, right? So then, well, what's a new belief? I'm smart. I'm not stupid. I'm actually smart. So we deconstruct like the old belief, and then we reconstruct it with a new belief. Hopefully that makes sense. And it kind of helps when we have, like I said, we're collecting evidence. I have a binder that I keep all of the evidence of my warrior self, all of the proof that I am her. Because, on those days that I'm struggling and I need to remember who I am and I need to remember my warrior self, I can go through my evidence book and I can be like, oh, this is my evidence of who I am and the person that I want to create and be and embody. All right. So, so we all have a vision for our new story, right? And it's a pretty powerful framework if you do this process. You take in, like I said, you decide the person that you want to be, and then you start proving it to yourself with daily activities and daily wins. So we shift from our old goal of I want to release weight. We shift, our old goal is I want to release weight, right? And then the new identity is I'm a healthy, vibrant person who makes nutritious choices. I know you want to be a healthy, vibrant person that makes nutritious choices. So how do we do this? How do we make this all real? Well, we have to write it into reality. Okay. And how do we do that? Well, I'm going to tell you. All right. I don't know why I'm so nervous, guys. Oh, all right. So how do we write it into reality? Well, first of all, we've got to think about the type of person that we want to be. And for me, I kind of like think about how does my warrior self behave? How does she act? What does she do? What does she say? How does she walk? How does she feel in her body? Does she feel confident? What is her mindset? How does she handle her emotions? What is my warrior self capable of? And how do I actually embody my warrior self every day? And how do I feel about her? What do I think about her? Do I love her? All these things that I asked myself before I created this warrior me that I wanted to be. I was I took those evidence first, the evidence that I told you of things that people had said. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Those people think I already embody this. So I want to embody these attributes even more. And so I wrote them into my warrior self. And then I was like, okay, well, my warrior self, how does she stand? Oh, she stands up tall. She sits up straight. She's muscular. Like I just started thinking about all of the things. Muscular is not the word. I used the word strong. I thought, how is she? Is she strong? Like I didn't use any physical attributes that were, because at the time when I first created her, I had this belief that I would never get down to the size that I was in high school. And I, for some reason, like that was the story I told myself. And so when I was writing my warrior self, which I found out later that you don't want to put any kind of physical attributes because, you know, you don't, well, we're going to go on to different. That was a tangent. Okay. So we're going to create our warrior self. So what is her behavior? What does she feel like in her body? How does she walk? Does she walk empowered and confident? Things like that. You're going to write everything about her, as much information about her as you can, and you're going to put it down on paper. And then you're going to take and you're going to define her. Like you're going to even get even more like clear with who your warrior self is. Like I said, what qualities does she have? How does she walk? How does she eat? Does she meditate? What decisions does your warrior self make? Like things like that. And then we're going to anchor those in with our 5 senses. So first, you got to think, oh, what is your warrior self? Because we're going to visualize our warrior self later on. So we've got to figure out who our warrior self is. Like we've got to figure out when you're around your warrior self, what does she smell like? And I personally use an essential oil to anchor that in. The same essential oil. Mine is orange. And every time I smell orange, I think of my warrior self. So think of it out and here. What is your warrior self here? Well, my warrior self hears the songs that I wrote. And every time I hear that song, I know that I am embodying a warrior. And smell. I did do smell. Taste. Oh, this one. This one I suggest doing with a healthy food, but you could do it with chocolate if you want. So mine is with chocolate. So every night I have kind of a ritual and I eat a little piece of chocolate and I close my eyes and I savor every like flavor note of the chocolate and I just experience it. Like I just kind of sit there and I just kind of suck on the chocolate and I just taste every little, like I said, flavor note and feel it melting in my mouth. And while I'm doing that, I'm anchoring in my warrior self. I'm thinking about her. I'm visualizing her with inside my mind, right? While I'm eating the chocolate. So now anytime I need a little pick me up or a little like a reminder of my warrior self, I can just put on my orange essential oil. I can listen to my song or I can eat a piece of chocolate. And yeah, so those are some really good tools for anchoring in your warrior self. All right. Then the next thing is we need to act as if you're already your warrior self. You don't have to wait until you feel confident. Just start acting confident. That's what I do. I told you guys I was nervous, but it's okay. I actually just realized while I was talking to you that I want to change that. I am not nervous. I'm excited. Remember, I'm writing a new story and you can write a new story too. So I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited to talk to all of you. So I'm going to act excited. And the more I act excited, right, the more excited I'm actually going to be. That's the kind of the whole act as if, You have the posture of the warrior that you want to have. You have your voice fluctuations, the way that your warrior self would be, all of that. You act it until you actually embody that person that you are becoming. It's really cool. It's really cool. At least I think it is. All right. You know, now that we need to make this new story our default program, one of the most powerful ways to do this is through mental rehearsal. So neuroscience has shown that when you vividly imagine an experience, your brain lights up the same way as if you were actually doing it. Isn't that cool? You're like building and strengthening those neural pathways for the future by engaging in a visualization practice. And if you anchor them in with the 5 senses, like I said, then you're anchoring it even stronger. Have you ever heard a song or smelt a smell or some kind of a familiar taste, and it brought you right back to a moment in your life? I know I have. And so that is what we're doing. We are intentionally bringing our brain to those moments, to that person that we want to embody. We're anchoring that in with like the smell and the taste and the visualization and all of that, because our brain it doesn't know the difference between real and made up. It's why you can just over and over visualize something over and over and actually create it. And that's what I did with this body that I am in right now. I was literally going through cancer treatment. I weighed 240. I was a size 20. And now I weigh 125 and I have muscle on me and I'm a size 5. I didn't envision those things because, like I said, I didn't believe that I would get back to that weight. But what I did envision was I looked in front of me and I saw this warrior. I saw a girl that was strong, that was confident, that was healthy. And those are the things that I visualized daily: strong, confident, and healthy, until I actually became her. I am her right here, sitting in front of you. And these are the things that I want you to be able to do too. Now, I'm going to share a few things with you guys on how I rehearsed and still rehearse for my new story. So after I took and I created my whole story and I wrote it all down, everything that I wanted to embody, everything that I decided was my new narrative, my new warrior, the girl that I knew that was going to fight for me while I was going through cancer treatment, I then had to actually figure out how to embody her, right? So I did this by one, I created the picture. So you see this picture over here of me. And I'm saying I have all these positive words about myself on here. Like I'm a good mother and I'm confident and I'm powerful, I'm creative, all of those things. So I took a picture of me and I put all of the powerful words that I wanted to think about myself on it. And then I put it up in a place that I could look at it every day. The next thing I did is I created like a little video of me, I took my head, and now we have AI, but back then I that was in 2020. So I took my head and I stuck it on a girl's body that I liked and different things like that. And I made like a little video that I could watch every day so that it could help me visualize it in my mind. And the other thing I did is I wrote a song, and that's also on my YouTube channel, the song that I wrote that was my new story, the person that I wanted to embody. So, and then I had a powerful statement. Okay, yes, I have a powerful statement, and I do know it because I say it all the time. I am a confident, courageous woman who lives her life with light and love. So I say that to myself in the mirror every day now. Now, remember, I used to say, I told you in a previous video that I used to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I really, really love you. But when I said those words, I wasn't able to say that I'm a confident, courageous woman who lives a life of love and light and pure passion. I forgot that part. But anyway, so I'm a confident, courageous woman who lives her life with love and light and pure passion. I wasn't able to say those words. So I had to start out with something small, and I had to build that relationship with my body again and my mind. And I had to tell myself that I was sorry and that I really did forgive myself and that I really did love myself, because I was sorry that I was pissed off at myself for being sick. And I forgave myself for being sick. And I love myself. I really, really do. Because I wanted to be well. And I wanted to be here with you. Because one of the things that was in my story is that I wanted to be here doing these lives with you. And I wanted to be here for my children. So, what is your new story? Why do you want this story? Why is it important to you? And who is that warrior self that you are going to be? And you don't have to do all of the things that are on the, I was like pointing like I was pointing at a, okay. You don't have to do all the things that are on my screen. You can do one or two, or you can do all of them. But I'm telling you, the more that you anchor in that new belief and that new story about yourself, the more you're going to be able to embody it faster. Because now, like, something will come up in my head, like a thought that's not a thought that aligns with my warrior self. And I can quickly, just like that, I can be like, nope. And then I switch the thought to a positive thought. I take that, and whatever the negative thought is, I take and I turn it around and do the positive, the opposite, right? And so that is something that you will actually be able to do automatically without even thinking. It becomes like an actual, like, your subconscious will actually start doing it naturally as you practice. Oh, the other thing that I had on here is that I have a meditation. And for those of you who would like to know what my meditation is for my powerful self, well, go ahead and message me and I will give it to you. I'll give you a copy and so that you can kind of copy it and make your own meditation. But you gotta message me if you want it or comment on the video below. And I will give it to you. I got to get a little bit of water. Okay, so you know what? I guess I kind of like jumped ahead a little on my I have because I'm so excited to be here with you, I forget what I'm going to say. So I have a little bit of notes, and then I guess I kind of skipped ahead on my notes. So that's okay. I'm going to wing it. We're going to recap what we talked about today. And, well, basically, guys, if you want to create a warrior self, you need to create a new story. You need to mentally rehearse it every day. And when you do that, you'll create new neural pathways. And then you will program your subconscious mind, like I told you. Oh, and the other thing that I didn't tell you about that I want to share that I forgot is when we're talking about embodying with the five senses, remember when I was back here? Let's go back. When I was talking about anchoring it in with the five senses. Okay. Well, one of the things that I also do is, so I didn't talk about the touch. When we can touch our heart while we're visualizing our warrior self, or we can move like in a pose, like we're holding a sword or some kind of, or we could just be like, yeah, what, any of that, like movement or touch or something that is anchoring that in. I like to personally dance. I like to dance, and I like to do this movement. So for me, like when I do this, then I'm like, that's my warrior me, right? So I told you my seeing, I have my picture with all my positive words, right? My hearing is my song, and I'll let you borrow my song. Or pro tip, you could take your story and you could turn it, your story about yourself, and you could run it through AI and you could have it create your own song. I have tried that with some other versions of myself. The song I have on YouTube, I did write when I was going through chemotherapy. I wrote it myself. I did not use it AI. I did use AI to sing it because, trust me, you don't want to hear me sing. But I did write the lyrics. But then since then, I've been kind of practicing using AI and taking like some of my new story and creating new songs with it. You guys could do that too. Let's see, what else? Did we talk about, we talked about smell. So I use the orange oil, the essential oil, and I just put it like on my body, like on my neck and on my wrist, and I'll smell my wrist. So every time I smell orange, I'm like, ooh, that's my warrior self smell. Orange is very uplifting and energizing and happy. And so that's why I use that. I used a really energizing one that, and just, yeah, I love citrus. Oh, and then also if I taste like orange juice, if I drink orange juice, then that's another thing for me because I anchored in the orange smell. So now if I drink orange juice, then it takes me right to that visualization of my warrior self. Okay, so and we did the taste and okay, well, we covered them all. Hopefully you know how to create your own version of your warrior self. And I just want to say that the key to being successful when it comes to any goal, including releasing weight, is you have to change your story or it is not going to stick. I promise you. For years, I went on all these yo-yo diets and I did all these weird things, but I didn't make a lasting change because I didn't change what's up in here. This homework that I am giving you is so important. Also, last week, I had you guys taking photos of your food. I want you to continue doing that this week. I want you to keep taking photos of your food. We're going to talk about it more, about getting honest. But this week, it's all about creating our warrior self. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me. But you know what? Your story is waiting to be written. And I love this quote. It says, you rise to a higher level of consciousness by taking your attention away from your present limitations and placing it upon that which you desire to be. You can become the person that you want to be. You just have to decide and consciously choose every day to embody that person. Thank you and good night.